Construction Champions, it's your host, Ron Nussbaum, and we're here on Construction Champions Podcast, where we're burning down the house on what the construction industry was built upon, and we're rebuilding it into the industry that we all deserve today. I'm super excited. I got an amazing guest. Ryan, it is great to have you here today.
Dude, I appreciate you having me on. You're a good dude chasing the same things that I'm chasing. So any way I can help you or your listeners, I'm here.
Absolutely, man. So Ryan is one of the top finance guys in the United States. He runs Fireside America, has a podcast. He's throwing events, all kinds of crazy shit happening all the time. But what I want to know is, what is Ryan most excited about right now?
Fireside and the pit. You know, you talk about events. I love finance. Just to clear that up, because you have a lot of financial advisors and finance people that get very offended and they start to look you up and they're like, hey, I looked you up. You're not the number one firm in the country. I am in the top 10 nationally for my broker dealer and the insurance company I represented. A lot of pension planning as well as tax planning. And I'm number one in the firm here locally in New Jersey and New York. So I just wanted to clear that up. If anybody's listening on your end that's a finance guy, they like to challenge that. But I am most excited about Fireside, the guests we have coming on, the movement that it's creating, and the pit, which is my coaching group. Not to give it a plug, but I'm passionate about it, man. It's something that you got to witness firsthand, the type of people that are in that group, business owners, guys making 200 grand a year, to guys with $100 million a year companies plus. And they're all after the same thing. They want to make sure that they get to some type of financial freedom. They want to make sure that their family and loved ones are protected in this country. They love their country and they love their family, obviously, right? So I am most passionate and excited about those two things.
Well, you're absolutely doing amazing things. I'm super excited for where this conversation goes today. And, you know, if I got some people reaching out to you because I misspoke there, I guess, you know, they got to know you in order to flow you, as Grant Cardone would say. So you never know. It might do something good for you.
It's the truth.
So I'm going to ask you the $1 million question, and that is, what makes a construction champion?
Oh, I don't want to speak out of school because I don't come from the construction background. I have worked with a lot of business owners. I mainly focus and target business owners and space, and a lot of those have been blue collar guys. And the one thing that I can say is people who are fixated on being the best at their craft. I'll give you a quick example. Rick Hall, who builds all the beautiful homes that you saw out by my house on the oceanfront in Bay Head, New Jersey. If you talk to that guy in a coffee shop, he's going to tell you, still at his age of 68, he has no competition. If I say, hey, Rick, there's a lot of builders coming in, he goes, I have no competition. Because he knows that his product is superior. People take a loss on a job to make sure that the end user, his customer, gets the best thing. That people are looking at that profit margin. And sometimes it makes more sense in the long term to take an L on something and provide the customer with product that they are looking for. And the good contractors that I have worked with, that I see leading, and they have much larger income, are the guys who live.
I absolutely agree. Being the absolute best at what you do and understanding that you're the best. There's nobody else. Competition is, we used to just say that the competition's only there because we made it. Like, they're there to try to compete with us. We're not there to compete with them. So that's great. One of the reasons I wanted to have you on is because I know you work with a lot of blue collar businesses, a lot of guys that are out there trying to get to that next level all the time. And that is what Construction Champions is all about. It's guys trying to get to that next level. So besides the competition and being the absolute best, is how does somebody from a background that may not necessarily be the biggest, baddest thing ever, but they're in a business that cash flows like a machine because that's what the construction industry does.
Absolutely. And again, Ron, I had a little bit of disruption on my Wi-Fi all of a sudden. I usually have a lot out there. A little bit of technical difficulties today. Really apologize. I missed a large portion of what you said there. So again, I apologize.
Oh, hey, technical difficulties is what happens when two non-tech people get together and think we're going to virtually record a podcast.
That's why I do it in person, and I'll only do it in person. I don't care if it was Trump.
I love it. So what I was saying there was, I love that you work with guys from the blue collar world, because those are the guys that a lot of times get overlooked when it comes to how do we go to the next level. It's, oh, well, they're just that construction worker. They just own that contracting business. But when at the end of the day, these are the businesses that built the backbone of America. And on top of it, most of these guys are cash flowing at 20% plus. They're cash machines, and they don't get the respect due for what they do. So how do you help those guys move into the forefront and start to create that financial freedom that you talk about?
Give them a platform. That's the first part, right? Give them a podcast like you have here with yours. Fireside America, mine, is a lot of people have been put and brought into the system. Whether the system is done on purpose or not done on purpose, it's printing out a certain individual when they come through high school and they come through the public or private system. They then go off to college. The college professors and books say they're supposed to be a certain way, right? It's look, talk, walk, feel. Same thing with a lot of doctors. There's great doctors out there who are patriots. Majority of them are left-leaning, and a majority of them have the inability to have curiosity and think outside the box, right? So I'm going to continue to do my job and shed light on that blue-collar business owner, because 9 times out of 10, he's way smarter in all aspects of business and life than that guy who's a doctor who went to 8 years of school and he's been indoctrinated. So I work very closely with business owners, helping them understand how good they really are and fuck what they say.
So it's amazing that you touch base on that, because one of the reasons I do this podcast is my wife worked as an esthetician for almost 20 years. And I would go to her at a plastic surgery office, and I would go to these shindigs with these doctors. And we're running a 25 million plus a year construction company. And these guys would laugh at me because I was in construction. And I'm like, that's bullshit. Like you can't even make a profit at 3 million. And we're running 10% plus on 25. So yeah, I don't think you should be laughing at me. And that's one of the driving forces behind doing Construction Champions, is that that's what we have to get past. Because there's no reason anybody should ever look at somebody into trades and have that feeling towards them, because there's probably a lot of stuff they can learn from that person. So the best business people I've ever met are people in the construction industry.
You and I are very similar in that way, dude. I mean, part of my drive and chip that people will see on me at times is because I was a kid who was labeled ADHD. You're not going to be smart. I wasn't doing the right thing. These are the things that you're being told as you're brought up through the public school system with a learning disability, right? Probably from the vaccines they forced my family to give me, but we won't go there, right? What makes them special? And that was what put a chip on my shoulder, is the blue collar guy should be getting more love, right, than the person who went to college for 8 years. I don't give a shit that you decided to pay someone hundreds of thousands of dollars to lie to you, right? You don't have any confidence in yourself to go do what it is that you want to do. And again, I've worked with a lot of doctors in business, and anybody who may hear this may offend them. I'm just a truth teller. Most of them don't know what they're doing in business. So to laugh at someone like yourself, who's having a tremendous success running a large operation in the construction trades, is really just, just a disgusting human being. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you just said. People don't understand business, but for some reason, they get it in the blue collar. And I've had this conversation with multiple people on here, and I really think it's just that we're born different. Like we just figure it out. We fix it and we move on. We're not like trying to just figure out this or that and then, hey, whatever, we'll just move on with our lives. Like we just fix the problem and boom, that problem's done with. Now we're on to the next. I think that's what makes us so great at doing that.
Yeah, logical thinkers, critical thinkers, curious versus just thinking one way that's pounded into your head via college.
So how do you get these guys out of their box? I did this podcast took me a year before I kicked this down the road for a long time. And now we're here and I wouldn't trade it for anything. This podcast has been one of the greatest things I've done. But I know there's a lot of guys out there listening that's going, man, Ryan's full of shit right now. I'm never going to do a podcast. I don't need to do any of this. I'm just going to go out and just try to be the best I can. How do we fix that?
So the way that this country got into the place that we are, which is turmoil, was because it's been controlled by the powers to be. And I don't mean to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but the media, all of the places that have controlled marketing, commercials, newspapers, the media outlets, which most business owners needed to go through. You had to pay your toll, right? You had to spend some big money on commercials to be a contractor in a certain area. You had to pay big radio stations, big media, big press, right? Well, guess what? The attention has shifted to the eyes. Social media, you're in a world right now where it's like the gold rush. There's still ground that's left wide open out there. And Triaxle, which is another construction guy that gave up all his equipment, gave up his whole entire, concrete yard. Again, if I'm saying that correct, I'm not an expert in construction. And he went and launched this app that he thought was a solution, and he started a podcast, and he got on other people's podcasts, and he got posting online. Because guess what? There's other guys in his industry that are going through the same issues that he is going through. And we're all going on the phone, and we're no longer going to college, and we're no longer looking for some other BS for education. We're going to some podcasts. We're going to social media. Who's somebody that's got some new tips and pointers on how I run my construction company? What new software is out there? So if you're not utilizing social media, you're not getting on things like podcasts, you're not blogging, writing, whatever it is that you desire to do, you're losing ground to the people who are your competitors all day long.
I 100% agree with that. I just had a great conversation with a lady about that exact thing, is how podcasting has just completely revolutionized how people learn. I was like, yeah, I used to read 50, 60 books a year. Now I consume more stuff via podcast because I feel like that's right now. Like it's legit. This is knowledge that was just recorded. It's present to what we're doing right now to be able to take that in. And it's amazing how the shift has happened and how people educate themselves.
Yeah, to pile on that a little bit more, if you look at Joe Rogan, right now, we are controlled by authoritarians. Like that's just the way it is. It's always been that way in some form or fashion because of outlets like Rogan's podcast, where he allows people on his podcast that he may not even fully agree with, but he's curious to learn about what they're saying. And is it true? That may save this country because people are consuming their media, their education through things like podcasts. So again, if you're not on YouTube doing shorts, you're not out there showing people your construction site, you're not out there showing people the tile work you do, the landscaping you do, the trim work that you do, you're messing up. And who cares if you have 200 followers and 10 likes for the first couple of years? I promise you someone's watching that's going to do business with you.
Yeah, we had Jason Payne on here on like episode 11, and he's huge on Instagram in shorts. He contributes $3 to $4 million annually come from the investment he's made in posting 3 to 4 times a day, every day for the last 3 years.
Dude, I mean, I came out of nowhere. I'm not anybody special. I want to always make sure I don't come off as arrogant, but I was pretty much a nobody guy that wasn't making tens of millions of dollars a year. I was working with a lot of those individuals, but I wasn't making that money myself yet. And I decided to turn around and help a guy who's making 50 grand make 500 because I already did that, right? I didn't need to make 10 million to show the guy how to make 50. We all need to turn around. So I decided to course correct. I was really on track to potentially take over the firm from my partners that had working in the finance game. COVID hit, and I said, you know what? I'm going to turn around and start helping people. And quickly, before you know it, I'm at some of the events with some of the biggest people in the personal development space currently, like Keaton Hoskins, the muscle from Diesel Brothers, Rob Bailey. I'm in the living room of Keaton with Ed Milet and Sean Whalen and all these guys that have different approaches, but they're in the personal development space. They have a podcast. They have utilized social media. Pretty quickly, I've put myself in the rooms because of social media.
Yeah, and you know what's amazing about your social media is your engagement. I know the first time we talked ever is we talked about how having just the right followers really matter, and just you're doing that, because what's amazing is as I was doing a little bit of research, getting your bio and everything together here for the show, I was like, man, the engagement on your Instagram page is insane.
That's all real people, dude. Everybody's fooled. Again, you need to have 100,000 followers or 50,000 followers. First off, most people who do, they're bought followers. And that may make their ego feel good. It may make them feel like they have a bigger penis. I don't know. That's not for me to figure out. But I know for me, I want loyal people. I want people who are going to be in the trenches with me. I want people who are going to like my shit. I want people that I want to be around and help build their business. So I only have 5,000 followers on my Instagram. I started it 2 years ago. But I would say 3,000 of them are down for the cause, right? They're in business together with me. They're after financial freedom. They love their country. They love their family. Those people are buyers. Those people alone can make me $3-4 million a year. I don't need another follower. And that's what people got to realize. The million followers out there, the Keatons of the world, the Tim Kennedys of the world, these bigger influencers online, they are a rarity. But the guy with 2,500 to 10,000 followers can easily make himself 7 figures with the right followers.
And that all comes down to your content. You're putting content out there that speaks to who you want to do business with. And that's this. Go ahead.
It's me. A lot of people are strategic. A Nike's got to go celebrate every holiday that's out there. Certain companies like Google got to go put, trans stuff on the front of their homepage, right? I'm only doing what Ryan likes, what Ryan believes in, right? And nothing else is going to matter to me. And I believe that if I put out whoever the fuck I am without being a fraud, because everybody is fraudulent, everybody's chasing money, it makes them be someone they're not. Everybody's trying to tie on to a pride movement. I have nothing against gays. Anybody who wants to jump on to something that's trending to make them feel like they're a part of something is not being real. And all I do is put out what I like and what I believe in. And again, I believe that that's going to attract the right people to my world. I don't remember exactly how we got introduced. I think it was Dylan, but Dylan found me online, being who I am. Dylan then introduced you to me. You're then in New Jersey at my event with 30 studs that all make 7 figures and they're all trying to be great patriots. So if I didn't start putting out what I put out, that way I would be attracting the wrong people. And I'd be living a fake life and usually be miserable and probably secretly do drugs and everything else a lot of people do in this society because they're afraid to be fucking real. And at times when I'm real, I make mistakes. I'm just human. I'm okay with putting that out there. So everybody should be living that way. That's my opinion.
I 100% agree with that. And then that's why it's so important when these guys are out doing their content and they're putting it out there. They're showing what they're doing, what it's like, what is their business, what's their differentiators. I think a lot of guys are afraid to talk about what makes them different from the guy down the road.
They're scared that the guy who made more than him is going to judge him, but he didn't catch that guy yet. Who cares what he says?
Because the only way you're ever going to catch them is to go out there and do the stuff they're not willing to do. Because that's where the biggest shift in the industry is happening. Like, you got guys that are just hunched back, going so deep into this is how we've always done it, and they're not going to give up on that. And then you have guys who are like, we need to just do this completely different. It's guys that are going out and doing it completely different, that are creating the YouTube channels, that are creating the Instagram channels. That's where your customers lie.
I'll give you a quick example, right? So I go up to the Catskills. I'm here on the East Coast. The Catskills is beautiful, small little American towns in the mountains. My wife and I enjoy it from fall through to winter, going up there 6-7 weeks a year, and just enjoy that environment a lot. My son loves excavators. So as you can imagine, like any dad on here, you get stuck on YouTube looking up excavator videos. And I stumble upon this guy called Dirt Boss. So give shout out to Dirt Boss. So you could tag him. And he had this YouTube and he was digging the footing for a mountain house that was being built in the Catskills. That's a dream of my wife and I's that we probably look to do here soon in the next couple of years. So if Dirt Boss is still around, he'll be digging my footing because I saw him out there on YouTube. Because the next week after I watched that YouTube, I realized he was doing it at Wyndham in the Catskills, literally 3 houses down from what I rented. So now I have a connection with him. I built this virtual connection, right? That's the weird part of this that a lot of these blue collar guys don't understand. They're all badasses. I don't got time for that. Shut up, dude. You have time for it. You're spending your time in other ways. But because I had that connection with the guy, and then I'm from that area where he was working, I'm most likely going to be hiring that guy to dig my footing. So, and I don't need to just know about him digging footings. What does he do in his regular life? Do you hunt? Do you fish? Do you shoot guns? Are you into track? What do you do in your regular life? I call it Ron in the wild. That's a part of my coaching that I work with a lot of these blue collar guys. Hey, dude, people want to know about you. They want to get to know you. They don't care that you have a nice truck and you drive around. There's a lot of scumbags who have nice trucks and drive around. Who is this guy as a dad? Who is he as a husband? Who is she as a wife? Right? And those things you can put out there on social media. I really don't care that you dug a hole for a house again. That's pretty boring. I'm going to put you on snooze. What I want to know is who you are as a person. And it's really easy to get that content. It's everywhere around you every single day of your life. You're just making an excuse and you're being lazy, and people like Ron will smoke you if you don't get on board.
So let's visit in the exposure to everything and opening all of that up, and the being real aspect of things, and not just focusing on what you do. I think there's a lot of, I fall into that realm of things on multiple occasions where you can really get tunnel vision on what you're doing and not necessarily be putting out content that is who you are as a dad or family or any of that kind of stuff, and you focus mainly on your business. So I want to hear a little bit about that for people out there, because there's a lot of businesses doing great things that they only talk about their business.
Yeah, I'll give you another perfect example. So I've worked with dozens of people doing this, but mortgages, right? And realtors. Realtors, if everybody has it on their social media, right? And I'm going to offend the realtors right now. I love you guys. You do a great job, and girls. But I don't care, just listed, just sold. Just listed, just sold. First off, I think that's telling everybody every time you get paid. Imagine if I rolled over millions of dollars, or I did $100,000 strategically overfunded life insurance premium.
Hey, you're muted now. Good to go?
Good to go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Let's keep rocking and rolling.
Remind me where we're at. We just got kicked off here.
You were going into about realtors and about how they just say they just get paid.
Yes. That's my ADHD. See how quick that happens? Squirrel. So, realtors, you're posting just listed, just sold. I'm going to become bored, right? That's the only thing that you're posting. And again, maybe to the materialistic person that sees you selling a certain type of house, maybe you're going to land that guy. But the regular average consumer wants to do business with someone that they like. right? So I've taken Trevor West and I had him do things like Flipping Friday, which again, I can't take full credit. He has come up with that himself, but I had him start putting his life out there, putting other things out there besides just putting just listed, just sold. He's the guy that we took from trucking, making $50,000 a year to he'll make over $500,000 this year in a down market in his space. He's landing new clients in the real estate space every day, as well as doing flips. Mortgages, same thing. My rate's 1/8 lower than the next Johnny down the block or the next guy you see on your podcast. What is that guy doing in the wild? Pete Riley's a perfect example. He's an awesome coach in his community with wrestling. Why aren't we filming the wrestling? Well, guess what we do now? Pete Riley got sober. He's got an amazing story that a lot of people need to hear. He thought about ending his life. Pete Riley can help other business owners and men out there that may be struggling. Tell your story, Pete. Guess what? He's doing that, and he's staying alive and thriving in this economy when mortgage people are getting kicked out of the business day by day right now in this current climate. So you need to understand they don't just want to hear about what it is you do. They want to get to know who you are. Whether we like it or not, people are here, and it's here to stay with building virtual relationships. It's then your job to get hooked up with people who understand how to monetize that and how to convert those eyes. So I don't talk ever about finances. I'm actually very, very regulated about talking about financing on my podcast. I have lawyers and compliance officers who watch every episode. Yes, that's the truth, right? So I can't talk about finance, but I'm number one because I moved the eyes over. So you want to be the biggest builder, you want to have the best, excavating company going on, you better get on social media. And that doesn't mean that it's the end all be all. It should be a major touch point with some other touch points in marketing you have going on. But get on social media. And also what it helps you to do if you're an introvert or you're somebody who cares about what people think or you're a people pleaser, it teaches you to get over that real quick.
Awesome, man. I love it. So great episode today. I know we had some technical difficulties.
I know.
That's just what ends up happening. But hey, if anybody want to go follow you, to learn more about what you do, where's the best place to do that?
So you can go to my website. It's www.ryandrobbins.com. It has the business coaching in there. It has the podcasts. It has applications to be on my podcast. And then also just my Instagram is probably the best place to go to. It's Ryan D. Robbins. And right inside my profile, I have my link tree that leads you to the Paid Pit, which is my coaching group. It leads you to my ebook, which tells you a little bit deeper about my backstory, which we didn't spend a ton on today. And you guys can just go learn more about me. Give me a follow, shoot me a DM, say, hey, I heard you on Ron's podcast. Let's connect. I'm always looking to meet good business owners, especially guys in the trades.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for taking the time today to come out here and help some construction champions.
Listen, you're doing great things, Ron. I believe in you, dude. I'm going to pull you in closer, whether you know it or not. I'm now you're stuck with me. And you have a really, really cool piece of software, dude. You also have an amazing heart. You're a good person. You're a veteran. You care about this country. You care about your loved ones. And those are the motherfuckers I get in the trenches with. So I'm excited to be on this ride with you, dude. Thank you.
Awesome, man. I love it. So, construction champions, another great episode talking about social media. Of all the things that we could have talked about here today, that's what the universe wanted you to hear. You're cruising down the road right now and you're going, man, 30 minutes of social media and why I'm a shitbag because I'm not on social media? Well, that's what you needed to hear today. That's what being a champion is about. It's about figuring out where those weak spots are and how do we win championships. Like I've said on here before, there's a difference between not just losers and winners, but there's a difference between winners and champions. It's because those champions hone in on those little things that lead to the championships. And for a lot of us, especially in construction, in the blue-collar industries, it's that social media presence. We have a hard time with that because most of us don't understand it. Here's the great thing. There's great people out there that understand it and can help you with it every day. So, construction champions, until next time, go be the champion you were meant to be.